Leef with the Legends podcast highlights people doing exceptional work in the areas of sports, entertainment, business, and entrepreneurship. Make sure to like this video, leave comments down below, and subscribe to the channel. As always, be legendary or be lost. Yo, back with another episode of Leaf with the Legends. I got my boy, my Oak Creek legend, my playground elite legend, overseas legend, University of Minnesota Crookston legend, Harrison Cleary. H, thanks for pulling up to the pod, man.
Man, my God, I appreciate you having me, bro, for real.
No doubt, no doubt. And I'm gonna have to, H his resume speaks for itself. We're gonna get into the numbers and whatnot, but I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to pull some things out of him because he's a real humble dude. So like I want him to talk his stuff. But just starting from the beginning, H man, just kind of break it down and just kind of talk to us about your childhood and your upbringing and kind of who was that first person to put the ball in your hand.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually born on the East Coast in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So growing up there, it was actually like more of a football area, I guess. So that was actually like the first sport that I really got into, and then I was taking that really serious as a kid until probably about like 8 or 9 years old, and then that's when I started seeing my older brother um, do things with the basketball, and then my father as well. Obviously, Big Mike.
Shout out Big Mike.
Put
Shout out Kathleen as well. Yeah,
for yeah.
yeah.
They put the ball in my hands, and then when we moved from Pittsburgh to Milwaukee when I was about 10 years old, um, that's when the flip switched for me. Whatever it was, whenever I got to Milwaukee, football just like didn't wasn't clicking for me anymore, and basketball is what took over. And from literally like 10 years old until now, obviously, it was just a grind with basketball. And obviously, we met shortly after that. Um, but yeah, that's when it really clicked for me. It was like 10 or 11 years old. Um, I remember right when we moved to Milwaukee, Kathleen, like you said, my mom, she was literally taking me to the Boys and Girls Club, Hillside down on Sixth and Cherry. And like you said, I went to Oak Creek, so I'm living in Oak Creek. My mom, short, 5'4" woman, whatever, and she's going from Oak Creek, driving me down to Sixth and Cherry to go to the Hillside Boys and Girls Club, and I'm just trying to get it in with whatever team or whatever I could at that point. So I was playing with Stay in the Game at the time. That was the AAU club that I don't think they're no longer around, but that's what I was running with at the time. I think literally for just a year before we met, and then I started playing with you guys in playground. But yeah, that's when it all started, man. Really, like that was my first like real memories was really at the Boys and Girls Club, and it just started going from really elevating from that point on.
Man, dope. Yeah, no, for real though. Like I know we joke, but like, shout out to your parents, man. They were there from the start, didn't miss a game. Mom barely missed a practice. Like she was there, like wherever you need to go. And they just showed like they were dedicated and they wanted to see you, fulfill your dreams and whatever it was. They made sure that you had the resources to be successful. So, shout out to your parents, man, for sure, for sure. So, like you said, the early on. You were playing with Stay in the Game, and I was coaching with Al, and we saw
Mm.
you at a tournament. We like, nah, nah, we gotta have him. We gotta have him because kind of the same time we had just started coaching. That's your same age group for Playground Elite, and once we got you, it was just one thing that I've noticed like right away was your work ethic, and I'm like ain't no way this sixth or seventh grader is like just working it like that hard. So like I vividly remember once you started playing with us, we had made it. It was a NY2LA tournament, and I think we ended up losing the championship of like the gold division or something. And your dad calls me like game probably ended at like 3 or 4. Your dad I get a call from your dad like 6. It's like I don't know what's wrong with H. He ever since the game, he's just been out in the driveway just just shooting. Just like so like you gotta just look like we done played probably 8 or 9 games that weekend.
that
And
weekend.
then
Yeah.
here you are, you know, hours or an hour after the championship game and you're out grinding. So like what who instilled that kind of work ethic and that drive and that kind of switch, to just constantly go hard?
Yeah, and to be honest, like that's when I've done interviews or whatever it has been like throughout my career so far, that like that's the thing I always say is like my work ethic. Like obviously, I'm 6'1", I'm not out there east band above the rim or doing anything crazy. Like so, I had to separate myself a certain way, maybe different than some other guys. So like even to this day, that's what I always hung my hat on was my work ethic. And from that young age, like I don't really know when or like how it clicked inside me. My dad obviously the way he works and the way he grew up and everything like that. Like maybe it was just like an innate type of thing, like built by your environment almost. Like just innately, I saw the way he was doing things, and it just like I kind of grasped onto that. Nobody ever really told me like this is how you work or you're gonna work or anything like that. It was just like I was just doing it. So from a young age, I had trainers. My first trainer was Latrell Fleming,
Shout
who
out
was
Trill,
at
man.
Wisconsin. Yeah, shout out Trell. At Wisconsin, I was having a great career until an unfortunate health situation. But like I was working out. He was my first trainer in like the fifth or sixth grade, and I was at the YMCA like every day getting it in. And most kids back then, now it's more common, but back then, like I was the only kid training at the YMCA. Like there was nobody in there. So again, I don't know like really who instilled it or how I developed that way, but from day one, like it was just like I'm just gonna work as hard as I can. Probably because I loved it, like I actually enjoyed playing basketball and working on the game, and B because again, like I knew like if I'm gonna try to take this the distance, like I gotta separate myself again in a different way than probably some other dudes are. And I remember we used to have talks like that when we were playing AU, where it was like the guard from this team or even like some forwards, like whatever, like they're already, this big and they can already do this and that. And you were like, man, like just stay locked in. Like it's all gonna work itself out. It'll all, level itself out as time goes on and stuff like that. So when I'm seeing those dudes maybe grow faster than me or be able to do things athletically that I couldn't, it was just like, let me just put the blinders on and just stay locked into what I can control, which is just working as hard as I can on my body and trying to improve athletically for sure. But then mainly just like the skill aspect. Like I'm just gonna try to be way more skilled than everybody else.
No, you definitely were. And getting to those skills, um, anybody who knows you know that you've always had a flamethrower. Like you always could shoot the leather off the ball, however you want to describe it. Like you were just lights out. Like was that kind of natural, or did that kind of come with the the grind?
Yeah, I think part of it was natural. Like again, like my dad was the main one that put the ball in my hands, and I think like I think that base and that fundamental, like from a young age, is obviously really important. And guys, I mean, guys are in the league changing their shots, so you can
Right, right.
tweak things at any point in time. But that I believe that base and like where you really start off playing is super important. So my dad, I think, instilled in me the correct way to shoot, or like a good way to have proper form, and it worked for me at least. You know what I'm saying? So from a young age, I think he put a certain like repetition in my mind, like okay, these are gonna be my mechanics, and then obviously with the work that came with Trail, and then once I got with you, Luke Meyer, once I got older, everybody like that was involved in my development. Yeah, there's tweaks here and there. There's improvement, of course. So I think it just started off like a really strong base, and then over time it was just like okay, little bits of improvement here and there to just like try and perfect it as best as I could.
Got you. So fast forward a little bit. So we were talking about sixth and seventh grade, but then once you got to say eighth grade, and you're like, okay, like starting to, got to make that decision to go to high school. Obviously, you're from Oak Creek. Were there any other schools who possibly could have, or who you possibly could have gone to, or was kind of Oak Creek kind of like, no, I'm living there. I'm there. I know the kind of the lay of the land, so to speak. So I'm just gonna go to Oak Creek.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like as a kid, you're what, 14 or 15 in the eighth grade. Like I didn't know too much about the whole landscape of it.
Hmm.
But again, Big Mike was involved, and he wanted me. Like I'm incredibly grateful. I don't know if I would be where I am today without both my parents. So I'm incredibly grateful. But he wanted me to take it the distance. So he had his whatever palm to the ground, or whatever you want to say. Like he knew what was going on. So he was in talks with, I think, I don't know if it was coaches or who it was, but like Marquette and Dominican, I think, were probably the two that I was gonna go to. And I remember I went down to Marquette, took the like the entry exam or whatever, um, like did all that. I think I got into the school, talked with Coach Cooks, he was the coach at the time, did the whole thing, and then ultimately again, like I didn't really have much of a preference or a say in the matter. Ultimately, my parents just decided like go to Oak Creek. Like maybe it was convenience, whatever it was. They just like kind of made that decision. Like Oak Creek is where it's gonna be. It's like, all right, how about me? My friends are there. I know like you said, I know the lay of the land. Like everything was cool with me. So yeah, that's where I ended up. And ultimately, I guess it worked out to a certain extent. So
Oh, facts, facts, and yeah, it did. I would say it worked out, man. I got some stats that I'm just gonna read off, just from your time at Oak Creek. First team All Conference as a junior and a senior. Player of the Year as a senior. All State honorable mention as a senior. All time leading scorer and second in assists. That's just some of it. That's the Spark Notes version of it.
yeah.
But
And the
but he,
I would
go
say
ahead.
the asterisk next to that is that we were running the flex offense too. So we were
That's
running like
right.
the flex, Bo Ryan,
That's right.
Wisconsin old school offense. So we're playing, and back then it was, I say back then like I'm 30, but
You
uh,
getting there? You getting there?
I'm unfortunately now, but 2016 is when I graduated high school. We were playing 8-minute quarters as well. So we're playing shorter games, and my offense was like as stagnant as it gets. So to get 20 a night was difficult, but I made it happen. My last 2 years, I was getting 20 a night, but man, it was hard because the system we were running.
Yeah, no, facts, facts. So with the offense that you run, what percentage would you say were like ended up like being like 3 pointers versus free throws, like that kind of made up that 20 a night?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the offense was what it was. Like if I ever become a coach, I would probably never ever implement that offense. We might have like a set that is like somewhat similar, but
Yeah.
that will never be our base offense. But it did help me too. So like I was getting a lot of back cuts, a lot of like shuffle cuts, like whatever. I was getting like stuff out of the offense that was like easy baskets. Aside from that, um, a lot of threes, which is just interesting because like when I got to school or when I got to college, like the way I was scoring there was basically completely different from the way I scored in high school. So like how it came together is I think I just had like two different styles of basketball under my belt. So then like I could play basically however a coach needed me to play. Like I was a little versatile with how I grew up. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't wish the flex on anybody, to be
That's fair. That's
honest.
fair. But I mean, and it allowed, even throughout high school too, you were able to, or like in the summers with AAU, you were able to kind of play a little faster pace up and down. So I can assume that helped, sharpen your, offensive skills, once you got to the next level as well. So you
Yeah,
want to talk a little bit about, Playground Elite and the EYBL time?
yeah, man. I mean, times I had with you and Al as the head coach, still some of like my best memories, bro. And like you two are still some of the best coaches I've had after 4 years of college, and it's my sixth team overseas. And I've had great coaches over here. Don't get me wrong, like a lot of great coaches, but like just the bond we had, I think, because you guys were young as well, so you kind of still had that relationship with us, and like you were in our shoes not too long, or not too long ago. So we had great times, but I mean, we had great teams. And I guess technically coming up, we were like the B team,
Yeah.
for Playground Elite.
Mhm.
Um, but man, we had talent, and I think we were winning tournaments. Like it was all good. We had exposure. We did it all. So then when it came time to 17U, that last AAU season, yeah, I decided to make that switch to the EYBL team. Ike was running it at the time, and he's like, yeah, like, come on, it's time to come run with us and play on the highest level. So I played EYBL that last year, and we struggled, man. You know how the EYBL is. It's a gauntlet. So
Hey,
hey, so as a team,
wins are hard to come by.
they sure are. So we struggle, but again, like you said, kind of just that different style. Like the experience in itself was just you can't pass that up. The guys I was playing against, 2016 class, Jason Tatum, Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Shamori Pons, like some perennial all stars in the league now is who I was playing every weekend on the circuit. So uh, I mean, it was great, and I even I played well. Think I averaged like 9 points on the circuit, and then on the tournaments outside the circuit, like NY2LA, and we had one like Atlanta, play well down there as well. Um, so it was a little unfortunate when it came time for the AU my AU like career to be over with. And I didn't necessarily have the offers I was hoping for, because I thought I did what I was supposed to do, and that's all it ever was for me, and all I was ever told was just like control what you can control, and I thought I did that, to the best of my ability. Um, but ultimately, I didn't have a whole lot to show for it in terms of scholarships. So um, when the EYBL season ended, I had just Minnesota Crookston, just where I ended up going. They were my only official offer. Um, Throughout the whole EYBL, I had calls and texts and the whole thing from D1s, Wofford and Furman, like the low majors, uh, D2s all over the place, mostly within the conference that I ended up going to. So in Minnesota Crookston's conference, basically like probably half the conference was calling me. I had every head coach calling me, but nobody offered. So when it came time, it was like, all right, Coach Weiss, Coach Beamish, they offered. I was like, all right, let's do it. And I love those guys to death, and we went and I think we made a lot of the schools, especially again in our conference, regret that they didn't pull the trigger. But is what it is.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Man, I love hearing the journey and the lessons learned, throughout the high school and EYBL, then what led you, to Crookston, which we're gonna get to. But just kind of backing it up a little bit, it's like basketball introduces you to so many people and opens so many doors, right? So you talk about like relationships. So coach, so the head coach that was there for you, Dan,
Hmm.
he was he was the student assistant, or I'm sorry, student teacher when he was at UWM, I think, at King.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he coached me back when, and then fast forward, me and Beamish, that's my dude. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Like we played, 4 years college ball together, and then he's and as your recruiting wasn't as as what you would have liked it to be, I was like, "Hey, Beam, you gotta look at this kid, man. Like he is like the hardest working, like ain't one of the hardest working players. Like he is the hardest working player I've ever been around. I've ever had the pleasure of coaching." So then Beamish had the relationship with me and took my word and like checked you out, and literally the rest is history. So I think it's real interesting how all these dynamics kind of come and all come together just from that orange ball. So
Yeah.
so you choose Minnesota Crookston. What's your first impression like once you got on camp? Like, did you take a visit before?
Yeah. I took a visit. Yeah, I took my unofficial. So they offered me. They came. Trying to think the order of events, but I think they can't. So we obviously I'm talking to Beamish and Coach
Yep.
Weiss and everything, and then Coach Weiss actually came to Milwaukee or to Oak Creek, watched me work out with Luke Meyer,
Yep.
and then came to my home and had like an in-home visit with myself and my parents. He offered me then, and then I think like a month later, maybe I took my visit out there. Um, and I remember we got off the plane in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Um, because that's how far northwest Crookston is for the folks that don't know. Like Minnesota, Minneapolis is like, close to Wisconsin, yeah, right next to La Crosse, and then Crookston is just like completely, the other side of the state, northwest. So we got to fly into North Dakota, and then you drive like 30 minutes east, across the border into Minnesota, and Crookston's right there. So we get off the plane and we're driving east trying to get to Crookston, and it's just fields. Like it's nothing. And obviously, I looked it up on Google. Like I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, but
Right.
I'm hoping for something along the way. So we get there, and I mean, again, it's nothing. It's like fields and like one road leading into the city, and then just campus is just like plopped in the middle of it. I'm like, all right, like let's see, like it is, this is what it is, I guess. So we go to the weekend. It was all good. Hospitality was great. Like met some of the guys, and everything was good. And then I got back home, and I think my parents kind of asked me the same question, like, all right, like, what was your impression? Like, what are you thinking? I'm like, I mean, that's not what I expected college to be. I'm sitting at home watching Michigan State on TV and Duke. Like I'm thinking like college is crazy and these big universities, great cities, blah blah blah. So it was a little like, oh man, like it's just not how I drew it up. Um, but ultimately, and what's still like reigning true to this day, it was like you got to go where you're wanted, and like what's the best opportunity for you as a person, as a player, whatever it may be. So for me, it was like I got maybe some low major D1s want me to walk on, or some D2s might come late in the process, and then I could go to the D3s in Wisconsin, of course. It was like Crookston being the only school that like officially offered me. They wanted me. Like it was like, no, we want you, like come in, like you're gonna have a chance to play as a freshman, like all this stuff. Where it was like put all that other stuff aside. It's a small city, small campus, whatever. Like I want, and at that point, my mind was made up that I also want to play overseas. I want to, do whatever it took to get overseas. So I was like, I was gonna lock in and go here, and we're just gonna see what happens. So, you know, it wasn't maybe like my dream school, my dream campus, dream scenario, but at the end of the day, they took a chance on me and gave me the opportunity that I was looking for. So, it was a pretty easy decision at that point.
Yeah, and it ended up being a really good decision. So I got some more stats. I got
Yeah,
some more stats. All right, so we're gonna read off just a couple. All right, 3-time All NSIC first team, 2-time All American, all time leading scorer in NSIC history, all time leading scorer in University of Minnesota Crookston history. You finished with 2,846 points, bro.
yeah, bro. Yeah.
Putting it up. And your career high was 49, 47, 49.
I crossed the 50.
Oh, you did
I
get
had
50.
52 my senior year.
Oh,
Yeah,
senior year. Okay, got you.
yeah, 52.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, what was like the playing style? Like, how was it different? Like, how was it different from how your coach was at Oak Creek to when you got to Crookston?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember when he came to my house, like he had a depth chart printed out. Like and he was like, we're returning, this guy at the PG, this guy at the two, and then also like I think maybe like two, bench guys at those positions as well. So like he had my name like on the sheet, but like I don't really remember where I fell in the depth chart, but I think I remember Big Mike like like taking like a second, like extra close look at it, like, oh, like, I think H is a little low, what I'm saying, whatever. So like when I got to campus, I didn't know what to expect. Like he didn't promise me the keys when I signed or anything like that. So I got on campus like I had a good summer of work leading up to it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna come in here and just like see what happens. Like I think I'm ready. Let's see. And right when I got on campus, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like this is, I think I have a chance to really like step in right away and really do something. So, his philosophy was basically like we're gonna, play defense, which was similar to my high school, but offensively it's a little more free flowing. Like a lot of ball screen continuity, a lot of spacing. Like we're gonna let you kind of work. Um, so the whole preseason, like I'm playing well, and I'm happy with how things are going. And then the first official game, we go down to Missouri. We play a school in Missouri, and I think 34 my first collegiate game. So then myself, the coaching staff, and I think my teammates, everybody at that point, all of us were like, we found, we got something now. I got my confidence where I'm like, all right, I belong. And like I said, I think I would assume my coach and my coaching staff, my teammates were like, all right, we can trust them. We can kind of get behind them now. And so the rest of the season, I mean, rest of my career, really, like I was able to assert myself and kind of lead us. Um, but our philosophy was kind of just hoop, and obviously I was able to get them up 2,800 points. And on good percentages, like, I wasn't shooting terrible shots or like bad percentages or anything. But yeah, I mean, I was hunting them. That's for sure.
But I mean, as a coach, like I love those players, right? Like the players who hunt those shots, who are aggressive, who have the ultimate confidence in themselves and their ability. But it's like, yeah, you should. Like the amount, just think about the amount of hours that you put into this game. Like there's I won't say there's no reason, but yeah, you should finish with 2,800 points. You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah,
have that ability, you put that work in, and it showed. Like you were able to, coaches, they like you said, they rally behind you, your teammates rally behind you. Like, all right, he said he didn't give you the keys, right away, but
but
shortly
eventually,
thereafter that, he was signing that title over to you. So, but no, I mean, and that just adds to, as a player too, just getting that confidence and being able to just play. Like you don't got to think about nothing. You got to worry about, okay, well, now I got to set this shuffle screen for, it looks like, nope, give
yeah,
me the rock. I got something for it. But
yeah,
no, but yeah, no, I'm happy that you had such a great career, individual career at Crookston, with my boy, Beamish. I'm glad that, obviously he took over the ranks now. He's
yeah,
the head coach over there. So, you put a lot of eyes and notoriety on that program.
yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm gonna shift gears just a little bit. So growing up, like I like sneakers. I still like sneakers, you know. And I used to peep what you used to rock, you know? And it got to the point where we were getting to be about the same size, right?
Yeah.
And I used to be like, H, man, what's up with them fours? H, what's up with what's up with them threes? And I know you had heat. So where did the love for sneakers, or where did like the sneaker collecting come in?
Yeah, that's a good question because my dad, like he wasn't really into them. My oldest brother was a bit, but he was out of the house. Like he's 12 years older than me. We're like this. But I was 6 years old when he was 18. He moved out of the house when he was 18. I was six, so like we never really even lived together. So like I know he had heat, but I don't think I got it from him. And my other brother, he wasn't into shoes. So I think it was honestly probably my friends, just like growing up around my friends, where they kind of started like not the collecting, but like maybe they were flipping, doing the reselling. Like they kind of got into it, and then like those are my best friends. So like I think the way you were looking at my feet, I'm looking at their feet. Like hold on, like what are those? So like they started kind of bringing me into like the shoe game at a young age, like probably middle school. And then by the time I got to high school, like when we were really rolling together during the AAU season and stuff, like that's when I started to get my collection together, and I had like a decent, stockpile at that point. But I would honestly say it was probably my friends, yeah, just like seeing them talk about it, wearing them, everything, and I just got interested. Like I want yeah, those are dope too. Like yeah, now I want a pair of stuff like that. So
Yeah, no, I was curious about that. I'm like, I was thinking, when I was coming up with some questions, I'm like, what do I know about H that not a lot of people may not know about H? And I just remember like those shoes, and I think you even sent me a picture because you had got a Yes shirt and you had
oh
matched it with
yeah,
like some cargos and
yep. I had
were
it
those,
on
were those
the
fours?
Nah, I had on or the one I know the one picture I sent you was the black and green yes, it was a yes hoodie, black and green. Like the wreath was green, and I
Okay.
had on like the Kobe Superman 8s. They were green. And I, I wore it to school like, oh, this is the hardest outfit anybody has ever seen. They don't know. Nobody has the Yes hoodie except me. I got a superhero. And, like, I thought I was like going crazy.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. I gotta look back. If you got that, make sure we get it. We'll talk offline. But
Yeah, yeah.
man,
I'll try to find it.
keeping it going, man. So you get to relive or you get to live out a dream of yours, right? Playing professionally. So you have a phenomenal career at University of Minnesota Crookston. Finished with 2,800 over 2,800 points, and then how was that? Like, how did the overseas opportunity come about? Like, did you start having as you were getting all these accolades? Did you start having these scouts start coming to games or at requesting film, or did you have to go to like a exposure camp? Like, how did you end up making it over to Spain?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was fortunate in a way that I didn't have to do any of like the camps or kind of sell myself at all. Um, and again, that was part of the reason for going to Crookston, staying at Crookston, and having the career I had at Crookston was like again with going overseas in the back of my mind at all times. So with the numbers I was putting up, the national notoriety I was getting, and we were bringing to the university even, um, they started to come to me. So I think the first agency that got in contact with me was like Christmas of my senior year. So about halfway through my senior year, I was averaging I went home for Christmas, went into the Christmas break. I was leading the country, averaging 30 and a half, I think, points per game. I went into Christmas break on a
Cook.
52, 44 back to back, and then went home for Christmas. So I went home like on top of the world. Like I'm like, I'm killing out in school. Like y'all wouldn't believe it. Like, whatever. So that was like when the first agency got in contact with me, and then it just kind of kept like, more and more just kind of kept reaching out as the season kind of tapered off. And then right when it ended, around like that February, March time, like a few more filled in, and we're like we were just waiting like for you to be done. We don't want to bother you during the year or anything. Like we were just waiting for things to be over, you officially to be done with college, and now we want to like help you explore that next step. So I was fortunate in that regard where I handled my business in school, and the agencies kind of wanted to work with me and help me get to that next level.
Man, that's what's up. That's what's up. So then you get to the next level. Where'd you land your first overseas contract?
Yeah, I mean, I landed in Spain, but man, I graduated college in 2020, which is COVID. So like I signed with my agency in probably maybe mid-April of 2020. So COVID had hit like a month prior, like shut down, the national tournament in March, all that like conference tournaments were getting shut down. And I signed with my agency like a month later, maybe. And they were straight up with me, like I signed with an agency from Spain, and they were straight up like, it's crazy over here. Like we don't know what leagues are going to be even going on next year. Budget cuts, sponsors aren't sponsoring teams anymore, so now they don't have any money. Like teams don't want to take a chance on rookies. They only want veteran players. Like I was hearing so much crazy stuff. So we got an offer really early from a team in the third division, Spain, and I didn't necessarily want to play there. I thought I could have went to a better league as a rookie, and my agency felt the same way. So we turned it down, and then the rest of the summer I didn't hear a word, or I guess I heard words, but
Wasn't
nothing,
it?
nothing solidified on a piece of paper. Let's put it that way.
I got you.
So I'm hearing teams from all these places. You're on their short list. It's you and one other guy, or we're talking to this team, whatever it may be, and nothing ever solidified. Um, so I didn't get over to Spain until the end of October, uh, 2020, and I was going over there to fill in for an injured point guard in the second division in Spain, Leboro, Spain. And when I got there, he was supposed to, I think, have like a broken rib or something like that. So he was supposed to be out for like 2 months. So I signed a 2-month deal, and I got there. I practiced maybe like 2 days, and Buddy's on the sideline getting it in, like ready to get back in practice. I'm calling my agent like, yo, like I thought you guys said he was hurt. Like what am I here for? Like, and this dude was like their captain. He's like he's old, like in his 30s. Like he had been there for a few years, so like they were really just waiting for him. Like
Mhm.
it was whenever he was back, he was getting inserted right back.
Right.
So he was healthy like right away. So like I was basically in that situation for no reason at that point because they were doing fine, with him. So like once he got, like it was just there was no room for him. So I left after my 2 year or my 2 month contract was up. I left there and went to another team in that same league, and it just didn't work out for me in that situation. Like I would take more responsibility in that situation than I would in the first, just because I think the first again it was like no roster spot basically. Like they
Right.
had their full roster. The second one I feel like there was a legitimate opportunity, and I don't know if it was because I was away from basketball, like because those 2 months I wasn't getting any game action, and then of course the summer, like I had been out of the game for almost a year at that point,
Right.
like playing actual game reps. So when I got to that second spot, I just didn't feel like myself, and they wanted me to play a role that I wasn't necessarily fit for at the time, like a true PG, like don't look at the rim, almost like you're just gonna come down and like I'm like you just saw what I did in college a year ago.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
that, that's not where I was again at that point in my career. I just wasn't. It wasn't a fit, myself in that club. So I left that club after like 2 or 3 months, maybe. So my first year was split between two clubs in the second division in Spain, which is a great league. If you can stick it.
Mhm.
But ultimately, it just didn't work out for me. So I went home. I think in like March of 21, and that was the end of my rookie year.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So then you left there. So you finished up in Spain. Then you went to Germany.
Then I did. So that was my rookie year. So then my second year, I went back to
Back to
Spain,
Spain. Yeah. Yeah.
third division Spain. Tried to just get my footing. Just try to get like in the door on the
Yep.
European level. And I started playing well. And then in December, I dislocated my shoulder. Um, so then now that season's cut short. So I went home in January, or yeah, I think in January or something. Had surgery, rehab for like that whole back half of the season, and then the summer, and then it was go time. I was finally ready for like the start of last season. So that was the start of my third year where I went to Germany. That's where it finally clicked. Was able to, I think it would have clicked the year prior if I wouldn't have. I dislocated my shoulder on some freak accident stuff. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think it would have clicked that year as well. But injuries are injuries. So my third year was when I was in a good spot, and then I was able to just put it all together, and it all came together for me last season.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And you played well enough. What was your numbers last year? You averaged about 23, right?
Yeah, so I was on like a little two-way type of deal you could, kind of relate it to in the States. But like with the team I initially signed with in Pro B Germany, I averaged I think 24 and 5, like 23.9 and 4.9
Gotcha.
assists. So
And
I was
then
playing
and
good
then you
ball.
were and then you were able to. So when you say the two-way, is that how the EuroCup uh opportunity came about?
Yeah, so the team I was with, and it's called Beetle, and then they had like a relationship or like a connection with the Hamburg Towers. Um, so I did the whole preseason with the Hamburg Towers because they're one of their point guards is a Slovenian national team player. So
Gotcha.
he was like away doing like whatever they had going on last summer.
Mhm.
So he was out. So they needed me. I was actually the backup point guard for like the whole preseason. And then once this preseason was over, I went to my team and like just started the season normally and was playing with them. And then the agreement or the understanding was basically like if there's injuries or sicknesses, whatever it may be, like you're gonna come play with us in Hamburg when we need you. So I was playing with my team, practicing with Hamburg, and then whenever there was some sort of, they just needed me, I was there. Um, so yeah, I mean, it started off kind of like that, where it's just like on a if we need you basis, and like because we have this connection, like you're gonna roll with us. And then as the season went on, I was practicing well, and then like the opportunities I started to get in the games with them, it started to get more like, all right, it's not like a if we need you, it's like we kind of want you to, now we want you. It's not we don't. It's only if we need you. It's like we actually want you to play with us. So
Gotcha. Oh, that's dope. That's dope. So talk a little bit about the EuroCup experience. Like how how what's the similarities versus the differences of like the other league or the other team that you were playing
Yeah, I mean, bro, in Pro V, like we're playing in like a I don't even know how to equate the gym, but like it's maybe like 800 people in there.
with? Mhm.
I'm playing, let's say I'm playing there on like Saturday, and then I get on a flight on Monday to go to like Tel Aviv, Israel, and play in front of like 6,000 people, lighting off flares in the arena and waving the banners and banging on drums. And I'm like, I was playing in like a church on Friday, basically. I'm playing like in like a little high school gym. Now I'm in this arena. I'm on a flight. Like it's so like the back and forth is crazy. Like going from just kind of one extreme to the other. And Pro B is a good league, and there's a lot of like great players that come out of there. There's a lot. They have big time arenas in that league as well, but like the majority of it, it's seen as like down here on the tier list. You know what I'm saying? The EuroCup is obviously all the way up here, so kind of going back and forth from one to the other was crazy. But I'm just grateful for the experience because, like I said, I'm going to play in Tel Aviv or Latvia, Italy, like the places we were going, the arenas we were playing in, the crowds we were playing in front of, the players I'm playing against, like all of that is like you can never pass that up.
Facts. And the money's good too, but we'll leave that out. We won't get into that. But no, but so like being overseas, like so what's a typical day for you?
Right now I'm in Finland, and it depends on the club, but like so this club we're running 2 a days. We're still in our preseason, but I think we'll run 2 a days probably the whole season. So right now I get up, go to practice in the morning. It'll either be a lift or just like a skill practice. So I'm getting my work in the morning for like an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll go eat lunch at like a sponsor of the club, so I can get free lunch at like this spot. Go there with some of my teammates. Go back home for like 2, 3 hours maybe. Get a nap in. Maybe I'll get on the game for a little bit. Do something for just that little bit of time. Go back at night for like our team practice, like our contact. Getting up and down, actually playing for another hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I'm home for the night after that. So then it's whatever I want. Go out to dinner, chill, whatever. Um, but we have 4 Americans here. In Finland, that's you can have 4 on the team. So it's myself, a guy in his second year, and then we have 2 rookies. And one of the rookies has been saying like he loves it because he doesn't have to worry about homework. He's like, man, this is dope. Like I can just go home and like I don't have schoolwork or nothing. So like, I mean, everybody I think enjoys different things about the life over here, or there's pros and cons. Like people
Mhm.
don't like certain things. Like he doesn't like the food over here, but he loves I think the freedom he has. So there's pros and cons to it, and people like different things about living the lifestyle. But it's all just what's important to you, what you value.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, what advice would you give uh, a senior in college who's getting ready to graduate, who maybe not have uh, G League workouts or G League tryouts or opportunities, and like looking to play overseas? Like, what advice would you give?
I mean, like we talked about before, with like the people that you can meet with this orange ball, bro. Like the connections in the basketball world go so far. And so, firstly, is hopefully you have an agent and a very good agent at that because that's your lifeline, and that's what bridges the gap between you and these clubs over here. So get with the best agent you possibly can. Um, and aside from that, like if you're already graduating, like obviously, all the advice prior to that is like work as hard as you can, everything we talked about earlier, and
Mhm.
put yourself in the best, position to make this a reality. Um, but then, yeah, if you have your agent, you have those connections to be able to bridge that gap. Then, like I said, it goes back to like how we selected colleges. Like, go where you're wanted. I know a lot of dudes that have passed up offers like, oh, that money is, uh, I need more than that, or oh, that league, yeah, I'm better than that. And coming from experience, almost like my rookie year when I passed up on that first offer that came, and then I didn't hear a peep the rest of the summer. Like, if I would have took that offer as a rookie, there's no telling where I could be in my career right now. Like if I would have went there, had an actual good rookie year, a full rookie year, like got on the board on the European, spectrum, instead of having basically a goose egg for my first year, like things could be completely different right now. I could be, 3 levels higher than where I'm at. So, don't overlook things and think you're too good or it's chump change or anything like that. Like again, go where you're wanted because 1 year is all it takes over here. Like you really could have one good year at whatever a certain level, and you could 3 times your money the year after, or you know what I'm saying. Like it can happen really really fast over here. So I would say just really like do your research and know either what you're getting yourself into or what you may be passing up on. You know what I'm saying? So
Gotcha. No, that's real game. That's real game. And you live in it right now. So
yeah,
that's real. That's real. Um, so like I said, you live in it. You got hopefully years and years and years and years to continue, playing. But I'm not even sure if you looked this far yet, but knowing you, I'm pretty sure you have. What do you see yourself doing like career wise once that orange ball stops bouncing?
yeah. I mean, I know you said like you think I had it. I probably had the answer in my back pocket. I wish I did because I think about it so much, and the trials and tribulations I've been on already in my professional career. Again, my first 2 years in particular made me think about it even more. Like I remember when I was on the floor when I dislocated my shoulder, like first thought that went to my mind was like, oh, "This is it." Like I had a goose egg last year, and now I played 7 games in my second year, and I'm out. Like I thought it might have been career ending. So I'm on the floor, like literally, like my mind is going. I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna go back to the states, like, and I'm trying to run these options through my head, like, okay, what am I really gonna do with my life? Like how am I gonna get money? All this. So I think about it can like a lot because you never know. Like they say you never know when the ball is gonna stop bouncing, but it's real. So I do think about it constantly, but nothing has really jumped out at me, and I don't have anything like lined up necessarily, because I think a lot of it has to do with the way I structure my life, I guess, like going back to the start of the conversation with how I started when I was 10, like it was like I'm locked in.
Yep. No,
I'm gonna figure this out in basketball. You know what I'm saying? So like even when I was at college, like I majored in sports management. Like I didn't go there for biomedical or something like engineering or nothing. Like it was like sports management because I'm in the gym for 6 hours a day. I'm not doing homework. You know what I'm saying? Like so like I was always locked in on basketball. So like I didn't necessarily have time or like the desire, I guess, to develop like these other passions or like you know avenues that I was interested in. So that's something I'm trying to kind of play catch up on now. Is like, all right, like how am I gonna make this transition when the time comes? And all I can hope for is that I do have a long career and I have years left in me, and it's fruitful to where I'm able to have some support in terms of financial support, where I can have a little bit of a nest egg and I have some time to kind of make that transition, or even better would be to utilize the money I've been able to make playing and kind of turn that into something else. You know what I'm saying? Businesses, investing, whatever it may be. So that would be kind of ideal. But in terms of like a pure like, oh, when I'm done, I'm gonna be a coach or anything like that.
yeah.
I don't have anything like that at the moment.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. No, I can see you like owning like your own facility, kind of like a athlete performance,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that. I
yeah.
can see you doing that, running that for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So what outside? I mean, obviously, I know you're a gym rat. Like you get it in like hours and hours and hours a day. Like what are some of your hobbies? Like how do you stay like sane off the court?
I mean, while I'm overseas, like it's tough, bro, because the language barrier, like the culture difference, like it's hard. You're not gonna walk outside and just like go to Top Golf for like
Right.
in Milwaukee. We just go down to the third ward and like let's just go eat and maybe have a drink somewhere. Like it's a little bit different over here. So I, I I'm good on my own, which is I think a positive because of again going to Crookston. I think developed me into that way where it was like there's nobody like there's like 1,800 kids on campus. Like I'm just gonna kind of be on my own, be in the gym, and just find happiness within myself, you know. So I'll get on the game, watch Netflix, go out, maybe I'll explore the city. Like last weekend, I went out and explored the city that I'm in now. Um, but yeah, bro. I mean, I'm good on my own. I don't need too much to keep me happy, or like I don't need to always be occupied. So I've been able to, I think, live happily and like peacefully overseas because I don't need that constant stimulation that I think some guys might need, and I think some guys struggle with that. Is like again maybe that culture, that language where it's like, damn, like I really want to go do something right now, but I feel anxious or whatever because they don't speak my language. Where I'm like, either A, I don't care if I'm just chilling, like I don't need to go do something, or B, I will go out and I'm not like nervous about trying to have a conversation with somebody that doesn't speak my language. Like I'll figure it out eventually. They're gonna understand me one way or another. I'll pull out the translator or something. Like
Smartphone, yeah.
I'm gonna figure it out. Like it's not that big a deal. So I don't have anything that's like, oh, I love to golf or nothing like that. But yeah, I'm good just kind of doing whatever, bro. Like I'm not real high maintenance.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Man, I love it. I love it. All right, man. We coming down to the home stretch. So I got 5 rapid fire questions, right?
Uh,
So I'm just gonna read them off. First thing that come to your mind, just kind of rattle it off. So
yep.
first one, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm taking steak.
I knew when I was writing it, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Shout out to Kathleen. She got you on those
Yeah.
points. All right, one CD you can play, no skips.
Actually, the weekend, Beauty Behind the Madness.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Your favorite you're at your favorite restaurant, right? You have a
All right.
reservation for 6.
All right.
Who are your 5 dinner guests, dead or alive? So it's you plus 5.
That's not a rapid fire. That's I
Yeah,
need to
that's not
sit
really
down.
rapid.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like I
You
need
can
to.
give it you can give it a little, yeah, you can give that a little thought.
No, I would take. So I get five.
You get
I'll
5, yeah.
go. Kobe Bryant. Um, I'll go Kevin Hart. Um, I'll probably go like try to get somebody in the tech like Elon Musk or somebody like that. Kyrie Irving, just to hear his philosophical ideas. And I need, he's my favorite. Like I need his film study. I got one more. Um, I'm gonna take Big Mike. We just gonna bring Big Mike. Big
Big
Mike with
Mike,
us.
Big Mike. He got Big Mike was gonna pull up anyway.
Yeah, he's gonna pull up extra chair
Yeah,
regardless.
exactly. No, for sure not. All right. I love it. Song or movie title to describe your life?
Like one that's already a real thing,
It could
or like
be
I'm
it could
making
be
it.
made it could be made up. It could be something that you've heard or seen or it
Yeah.
could just be made up, a little
No,
phrase
I'll
or
probably
whatever.
say like uh probably like Through It All, something like that. That's not real, maybe it is, but like just I feel like I haven't been through as much as some other people for sure. Like I get that I've been privileged in certain ways in my life, but like I just feel like I've been through a lot, in particular in my basketball career, where it's like I'm still here, still year 4 as a pro. I'm still trying to get it. So Through It All, probably.
Love it. All right, last one. This gonna be interesting. What actor would play you in your biopic?
Uh, Dang, it got to be a white dude. That's the problem. uh, there's this dude, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I've heard he looks like me. I don't really know him as an actor too much. I think he was in like the movie Snowden. If you've seen that, Edward Snowden. He's like a. I heard he looks like me. So I'll probably just take him just because I don't know. I don't know who else I'd rather like have play me in particular.
Maybe Mark Wahlberg? No,
Yeah, we could go. Yeah,
Mark
yeah,
Wahlberg.
we could go him, Marky Mark, or Channing Tatum or something like that. Yeah.
There we go. All right, see, there we go. There we go. There we go. Man, but H, man, I appreciate you pulling up to Leaf with the Legends podcast. Man, I got my boy Harrison Cleary, Oak Creek legend, set records, all-time leading scorer, second in assists for Oak Creek High School. University of Minnesota Crookston legend, finished his career with 2,800 points, over 2,800 points. And now he's in his fourth year playing professionally overseas. Lot, how do you pronounce it?
Lati, yeah,
Lati,
Lahti, just Lati, yeah,
Lati in Finland, man.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
Grew up, saw this dude since he was 11 years old, and man, it's just a pleasure to be here and to be able to just hear a little bit more of his journey, in depth. So, man, thanks for pulling up to the pod. Anything you need, you can holler at Big Bro.
Yeah, you already know, bro. I appreciate you, bro, for
For
real.
sure, for sure. Remember, like, comment, follow, subscribe. Be legendary or be lost. Peace.
Yes, sir.